So welcome along to the latest Seahawks Draft Log live stream. Rob Staten here in Santa Clara. Finally back at the hotel. It is not an easy place to get out of, Levi Stadium, but who cares? I don't care. I'm sure you don't care. But I have just had a celebratory drink with Jeff Simmons, and I'm now back at the hotel and just overjoyed, delighted that I'm just so happy for everybody. Everybody who suffered through that Super Bowl 11 years ago and has just suffered so much. And you may have lost people in the 11 years and it was such a difficult thing to deal with. And that felt to me like, a real closure moment. You can play that Malcolm Butler interception on the TV as much as you want from now on, as far as I care. It doesn't matter. That was an absolute domination today. And the Seahawks are Super Bowl champions again. I'm just happy for all of us. I am just so pleased for Seahawks fans. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in that stadium tonight or whether you're back home in Seattle or whether you're anywhere in the world. I'm just so pleased for us all. I've never done a stream at this time it's like 8 a.m. in Seattle, in the UK right now, and it's like a midnight in Seattle. So I don't know how many of you are going to be here. So I will do this for as long as people are commenting and there are super chats coming in, and we'll just see how it goes. But I'm just so happy for us all. And what a win that was. And if we're being really honest, it probably didn't feel that way at times during the game itself, but that was just such a comfortable win. Such a comfortable win. Like, they just dominated the Patriots today. Everything that we were talking about, not needing to be stressed about this game, feeling pretty relaxed. None of that came back to bite us on the arse. That was just exactly how it played out. That offensive line could not handle Seattle. I feel a bit bad for Will Campbell. It was one of the worst displays of left tackle play you will ever see. Jared Wilson was not faring any better. I have no idea why they're playing him at left guard. I genuinely thought that was going to be a shutout all the way through the game. And, fair play to Drake May for making that big pass play. And it's a really good catch from Matt Collins to get him on the scoreboard. But then the Seahawks just did what they've done all year, which is just outlast opponents, just find a way to get the job done. And that was perfect. Just the perfect day. Everything about it was amazing. To give you a flavor of what it was like in the stadium, it was full of Seahawks fans. My voice is absolutely killing me. The noise levels when the Patriots were playing on offense versus when the Seahawks were playing on offense was night and day. The weather was perfect. It was great sitting next to Jeff. Jeff's someone who I've streamed with for years, and we have very similar opinions on the Seahawks. Great to sit next to him and just sort of live through everything there. And that moment when Chenna Nwosu was running that ball into the end zone, and the great thing is Jeff and I were sat right at that end zone, so we got a great view of the AJ Barner touchdown and also the Chenna Nwosu running in. And as he was running that in, you just knew it was over. They were going to be Super Bowl champions again, and it's surreal. We've just gone through so many things after the game, Jeff and I, and just thinking back to even at times last year after that Green Bay game, like, how do they get back to this? How do they get back to being the best? And they've done it. They're back here, and it's just so surprising to an extent and wonderful that they've done it. And they were the best team in the NFL. They were the best team in the NFL this season, the most complete team, the most balanced team. I bet Greg Olson's absolutely devastated that his theory that field goals will get you beat didn't prove to be the case again. I seem to recall that actually taking the points in this game and building an advantage was actually a good thing for the Seahawks. It applied pressure and it gave them a handsome lead before things sort of escalated a little bit in terms of point scoring later on. So you can kick field goals, Greg. You can play the percentages. You can play a very solid brand of football and get the job done. And maybe this is something that we need to sort of learn from this when we're sort of thinking about things in the future. it doesn't matter how many loud people shout on Twitter about certain aspects of what team, every team should do this and every team should do that, or what you need to win a Super Bowl. Here's what you need. You need sensible, situational football decisions being made, and that's what Mike Macdonald did all season. And he did it again in this game here. And you need to be freaking good in the trenches. Like if you win the battle in the trenches, it's very hard to beat teams who can do that. And that's what the Seahawks have done most games this year and did in this game again. People are asking whether I've spoken to Robbie yet. I have. So Adam called me when I was in the stadium and FaceTimed and wanted to sort of see a little bit. That was an amazing moment. Made me quite emotional, actually, sort of when the game was done. It wasn't finished, but the game was done. And sort of Adam calling me, and it was a very emotional moment. And yet I communicated with Robbie. Robbie's probably asleep right now. If he isn't, he can send me a DM and I'll send him the link and he can jump in. But I will make sure that at the earliest possible opportunity that the three of us get together and pick the bones through this, because there's just going to be so many things to talk about. Jeff and I are going to have to do a stream at some point. We agreed on that tonight. And I can't wait to get on with Robbie and with Adam and talk about their experience. The Seahawks are Super Bowl champions again. By the way, I have to say that I am going to take my own little piece of credit that the lucky ball made it all the way here to San Francisco or Santa Clara, wherever we are. And it was here. So I'm claiming this as a win for the lucky ball as well. And also all those people who there's so many people. I have seen the Seahawks win before. This is not like a new thing for me. I have seen my fair share of Seahawks wins. But I was just on a bit of a bad streak. I'd seen them lose to the Niners a couple of times, and it was nothing that anybody would have wanted attached to them. But I'm glad, so many people were saying, I wish you weren't there because you're bad luck and stuff like this. I'm glad that we can put that to bed now. I don't think anybody could accuse me of being bad luck anymore now that they've won this Super Bowl. So, it's just such an amazing experience. I do want to talk a bit about the game rather than just sort of waffling on a bit here, but we have got some super chats as well. Just really a smothering performance. And like so many of Seattle's games this year, not so many, I shouldn't say that. Like a lot of, I've said it again, like that's basically the same thing. Like some games this year, if they had got a touchdown earlier on instead of settling for 3, if they'd been able to finish their drives, it was kind of reminiscent of the Week 18 game against the San Francisco 49ers. This would have just been, out of hand very early, by halftime potentially. That it was only 9-0 at halftime would have given the Patriots some encouragement. I was really surprised how conservative they were. This was the thing, like it almost felt a little bit like the Seahawks managed to lull the Patriots into playing a brand of football that the Seahawks were always going to be more comfortable playing. That if this was going to be a field position game and playing the percentages and taking your opportunities when they come, that was always going to benefit the Seahawks. I always felt, and I've said this, and this is not sort of after the event, you saw my video that I did yesterday, I thought they were going to have to score 30 points, the Patriots. They were going to have to be aggressive. They were going to have to take their shots. They were going to have to find trick plays. I can't believe there was at no point there was no trick play from the Patriots. They must have had one up the sleeve, and they never went to it. They never even flirted with that. They didn't even let Drake May test the Seahawks downfield till late in the game when the game was almost out of hand. Like, where was the deep throw early on? Why? They showed with the Matt Collins play, the touchdown, they could cause some problems for you downfield. He's got a good arm. He's clearly healthy enough to throw those downfield. Reek Woolen's coverage is not bad. He's in position to make the play. Matt Collins just makes a better play than Reek Woolen on that one. Like, why were they not going to that earlier? Like, they were very, very conservative, but the Seahawks played the kind of game that they were very comfortable playing. And then it just felt, because of all the pressure they were getting, so many pressures off the edge. Offensive line for the Patriots was really struggling. It just felt as if the big plays would eventually come, that the turnovers would eventually come, and they did. The two interceptions, the forced fumble, that they were going to come eventually. I was a little bit surprised it took as long as it did to come, because there was so much pressure and you could feel it in the stadium. But what a performance. Let's run through some of the players. Like Sam Darnold. I saw people have been quite critical of Sam Darnold in this game. I can only tell you from in the stadium, I never felt troubled by what Sam Darnold was doing. He missed some throws, but on, like, for example, a couple of the big misses that people were talking about on social media, I thought he was getting absolutely hammered as the ball was coming out. There's under a lot of pressure there. The Patriots did a very good job blitzing. They were very aggressive with their blitzing very early on. I think he did what he had to do, manage this game. He was only sacked once, 202 yards and a touchdown. He did what he needed to do, and that's perfectly fine. He's gone through the whole of the postseason now without an interception, and given people just will not stop talking about his turnovers and stuff like that, I think you have to tip your cap to him and how well he played. It was very difficult to sort of pinpoint. We were talking about this amongst us, like Seahawks fans in the stadium, who was going to be the MVP. If Ken Walker's touchdown that was called back on the hold stands, it's a no-brainer that he would have been the MVP. It was quite a challenging decision in the end. So do you give it to the running back who got over 100 yards versus, some of these defensive players? I personally thought that the way that the game was going, it had to go to a defensive player. And I'd have been very comfortable with either Derek Hall or Byron Murphy for me being named MVP. But a nice thing for Ken Walker to get that 135 yards on 27 carries, a long of 30, did a great job today. I imagine off the back of that performance, it significantly increases his chances of being kept by the Seahawks, even if they have to use the franchise tag. I just don't, with the injury to Zach Charbonnet and the way that Ken Walker played in these last few weeks, I don't think you can let him walk out the door. There's not a lot of great alternatives out there to go and draft or to sign in free agency. I think you've got to keep him on this roster, as I do with Rashid Shaheed. And then there are some other players who inevitably are going to move on. But I think you do have to keep Ken Walker in Seattle off the back of the way that he's played at the end of this season. He's shown that he's a great weapon. He's a very good player. I don't think he's completely maxed out what potential he has, but still a very, very good player. JSN very quiet with 27 yards from 4 catches, but had the concussion issue, which kept him off the field for a drive or two. Cooper Kupp, Mr. Reliable, has had a great postseason, has done a very good job for the Seahawks, 61 yards and 6 catches. AJ Barner, that 54 yards and a touchdown, 4 receptions, had a great view. I sat right in front of you. You could see, like, as the throw was being made to AJ Barner, it was right in front of us. Barner was not open when that throw came out. It was a great throw from Sam Darnold, great route from AJ Barner, and great to see that as close as we were to it. And then defensively, a couple of sacks of Derek Hall, was sensational. Byron Murphy, brilliant, just sort of took his game to a new level tonight. Devin Witherspoon, I should have mentioned him as well with potential MVPs. He was unbelievable too. By the way, I have to say, Christian Gonzalez might have been, as strange as this might sound, there might not have been a better performer on the field than Christian Gonzalez tonight. Like, he was absolutely fantastic. Like, I don't know if that came across on the TV broadcast. Gonzalez was absolutely sensational for the Patriots, and you have to just sort of acknowledge how good he was. Great to see Riley Mills get a sack. Leonard Williams, by the way, was not happy that his sack was called back on an offside penalty. He was very perturbed that he was not allowed to get that Super Bowl sack at the end of the game there as well. But there were just so many great moments. I've got so many videos. What I want to do is I want to put a video collection of some of that, the things that I got and that I took while I was there. I tried to gather as much stuff as possible that I will make into a video, possibly tomorrow, possibly when I'm on the plane. I'll sort of make some kind of video there and put it out for you guys to sort of see what I saw from that vantage point of where we were by that end zone with the Patriots logo on it. And just want to share as much as I can, but just unbelievable. Just I can't really begin to imagine how this has all kind of happened. Like, we all thought, I think most of us thought the Seahawks were going to have a really good season. How we've gone from winning a playoff game would be great to them even getting to the Super Bowl, but winning the darn thing, it's just incredible. I should definitely thank Brian again, just for giving me the opportunity to be here. This was, without a shadow of a doubt, a top 5 moment in my life. It's up there with the typical things that you would sort of rank as the best days of your life. Obviously, the birth of my 2 children, getting married, meeting my wife, who is an incredible person. And she's she sent me a message on WhatsApp when she was going to bed because, yeah, she's not a sports fan. And she stayed up and watched a little bit of the game and then went to bed about midnight UK time. So she probably saw half of the first quarter. And the first thing she did when she got up was to see what the score was and then messaged me straight away, say how happy she was for us and everything. And I, you know, those kind of moments are they're your best moments in your life. But then that today is going to be right up there. You know, I think we're all in the same boat here. Like, there'll be a lot of people in here who are Seahawks fans and Mariners fans. And I'm a Seahawks fan and an England football fan. And the Mariners never win anything and the England national team never win anything. So when we get a chance to see one of our teams win something, it's just really special. And that will be up there whenever. I hope this is a long way off because I enjoy life. And I really hope this is a long way down the line. I don't want to tempt fate with anything to do with this, but whenever the day comes that I will be near the end, I'll be thinking of this day. That was just an unbelievable experience. And again, Brian Nemhauser at Hawk Blogger is the reason that I'm here today. So I want to say thank you to him again. And I'm so grateful. And the number of people who've sent me emails and messages and tweets that I've had, people saying that they loved the blog and they were happy for me to be here. And I kind of just, every time I read one of those, I just wished that those people were here with us to enjoy it, that everyone could be here sort of experiencing this in person because it's just such an incredible experience. And the number of people who came up to us in the stadium, like people were just coming up to me and Jeff and going, oh, you know, we love Silk's Draft Blog or Real Hawk Talk and stuff like that. I'm blown away by that. And if you did that, then thank you, because that kind of was a very surreal experience to have people coming up to us in the stadium and saying that. And the nice emails I've had and messages. Keith, who got in touch and said, would you like a lift to the stadium? And he very graciously gave me a lift with his wife to the stadium there to avoid having to spend like $150 on an Uber or get the train. I so massively appreciate that as well, Keith. Thank you so much for that. And for the great company that you presented before the game to me. I just, so many generous people there to sort of make this great experience for me. But what a day. Just an unbelievable experience. And just great closure, because you know, I've spoken to you about this before, that you know, losing that Patriots game 11 years ago, it really did it really hit me hard. I'm sure it hit a lot of you hard as well. I'm sure it hit a lot of people in different ways. And if you'd have said to me that day, or in the days after that game, don't worry, in 11 years' time, you will get to play this team again in a Super Bowl. You will handle them easily. You'll be wearing the same uniforms. There won't be any sort of decision whether to run or throw on the 1 yard line. The game will be just so in hand. Chris Collinsworth will be on the call again. Like, everything's just, yeah. And you get to win the whole thing in San Francisco 49ers Stadium as well, by the way, which I just think is fantastic. That just would have made things so much easier if only we knew what was coming. I have to say, it almost makes it all, going through the pain, almost all worthwhile to be able to have this moment now. Like, if you don't have the heartache against the Patriots 11 years ago, I don't know if this is as special as it is right now. And I'm almost semi-grateful that we went through that, to be able to sit here and be as happy as we are today. So there we go. I want to get into these super chats. KJ says, incredible night. Was looking for you at the game. Nice shirt. We'll have to meet you next year in LA. 43-8 was incredible, but this year was special due to the unexpected nature of winning it all this year. Enjoying a very nice bottle of wine at home. Go Hawks. I'm sure that wine will be tasting absolutely fantastic, KJ. Apologies we couldn't meet up. I think I told you I was in the 109. I was actually in 110. So the next section along. So apologies for that, but I'm sure you had a great time there and really appreciate that very generous super chat. Thanks, man. Much appreciated. DJT says, love it, as I'm sure everybody is right now as a Seahawks fan around the world. M. Bullen says, disruptive off-season, championship postseason. Thank you, Rob. No, thank you for that very generous super chat there. And it's just, it is crazy, like how so many of the things that we talked about as a community ended up helping this team, like a focus on the trenches. Like, and just that is why. Like, look at the Eagles. The Eagles won the Super Bowl a year ago because they were so much better than everybody else in the trenches. I feel that's the Seahawks haven't been necessarily better than everybody in the trenches consistently every week. And there's other aspects of the team which have enabled them to have a lot of success. But being good in the trenches matters. It might sound a bit boring to the cool kids on Twitter, but it does matter. And so does being able to run the football. So does being able to play good situational football. So does, like, the greatest thing that I can take away from this season is Mike McDonald consistently saying on Brock and Salk after every game, like, the game declared itself. Like, that's just such a great phrase. Like, you can't treat every game of football like it's the same. Like, if you just do the same 10 things every game, that it will all work perfectly. You have to play situational football. You have to understand what the moment calls for. And that's what the Seahawks have done better than anybody else this year. Like, I was watching ESPN at first thing in the morning when they were talking about it and saying, like, the Seahawks have gone for it the least number of times. And I'm thinking, yeah, the reason they haven't gone for it as much on fourth down is typically because they were winning and leading in games, but also because they understand situational football. They understand that a field goal is not the bad thing. There was a point in that game where 3 runs and a punt would have been okay. And they were playing very conservatively because they had like a decent lead, and you have to protect that lead. It doesn't always have to be 7 points, 7 points, 7 points on every drive. Got to be scoring loads of points. Like, they understand everything. Like, the maturity of and the clarity in the vision of how they manage games is one of the most underrated things about the Seahawks Super Bowl. Is their game management on the sidelines has been really, really strong. And people don't equate great game management with just sensible conservative play calling. They constitute it with being massively creative on fourth down and having lots of success there and being aggressive all the time. And you don't have to be that. And frankly, there are a lot of people who were unnecessarily negative about the Seahawks a few months ago. And I hope they're having a good time today. Like, what was it? They were ranked as, like, they had like the 30th best off season or something, or free agency period. And, you know, Mike McDonald and Clint Cooper, something like the 16th best coaching staff, or the Raiders were ranked in the top 10 or the top 5 or whatever. Like, they have shown that, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, when I think back to how much hand rigging there was after the Carroll stuff and all of that when he departed, you know, what a great move. What a great move by ownership, by Jody Allen and Burt Cold to have the stomach to move on from a legend. It was completely the right decision, irrespective of what's happened today. And by backing John Schneider and bringing in Mike McDonald, they have delivered another Super Bowl championship. And there was definitely like a lump in my throat when I saw them all reflecting on it on that podium in Levi Stadium earlier tonight. This from Hunter says, I've been watching since the day Russ was traded. Amazing journey with this channel. Thank you for watching. And it really is, like, if you said back then, I can remember jumping on with Robbie immediately afterwards and reflecting on that trade. And here we are, just a few years later, winning the freaking Super Bowl again. I just can't even saying it. It's just surreal, isn't it? The Seahawks are Super Bowl champions. I was buying Super Bowl champion merch from Simply Seattle while I was still in the stadium immediately after the game. It's just such a surreal thing. Graham, I'm in Seattle and it's bouncing. I imagine it's amazing over there, Graham, right now. Your work and time have played its part in growing the love I have for our Hawks from one Yorkshire 12 to another. Great stuff, Graham. Thank you for that. Always good to hear from another Yorkshire 12. And have a great time in Seattle. I imagine that city is unbelievable tonight. I imagine it's probably a lot easier to sort of get around as well. I have to say, like, the one negative from today is getting away from Levi Stadium is a disaster. Like, there's no way to get away quickly or reasonably from that stadium. We just walked for ages trying to find a way to get a cab away from the stadium. The train was a nightmare as well. We tried that. It has to be better than that. And it was a really bad experience, but I will take that every day long. That's the worst thing that happened today when you win a Super Bowl. Jesse Lund says, turns out better role models, leaders help. Go us. Yeah, definitely. I wonder what Geno Smith and DK Metcalf think right now. I'd love to know that. I'd love someone to stay. Geno was very chatty after that win he had against the Patriots in week 1. He's not said much since. I want to know what he's thinking tonight. what was it that he said? Like he just didn't the situation in Seattle, the culture in Seattle, or whatever the vibe didn't quite fit Geno in Seattle. The Raiders were his team; they were his kind of team. Yeah, how's that getting on, Geno? Yeah, you're about to be replaced by the #1 overall pick, and for DK Metcalf, the grass is always greener. Yeah. Enjoy next season when you're still catching passes from Aaron Donald with Mike McCarthy on the sideline. Giant Kumar says, you definitely had a part to play in this win with your draft reports. Giant, I really appreciate that. I definitely didn't have a part to play in that. If the team want to send me a Super Bowl ring anyway, that's fine. But I'm just happy if people enjoyed any of the content that I've been churning out over the years. Schneider includes them in the modeling data, so you helped draft this team. I cannot, but as much as I really, Giant, I hope you've got some kind of insider knowledge there, and that is true. I can't believe that that's true, but it's a wonderful thought, and I'm just glad that we have John Schneider as the GM. Personally, I think he is proven now. He's surely, him and Howie Roseman. I think they need to redo the Hall of Fame stuff, obviously, but people like Howie Roseman and John Schneider, they need to be in the Hall of Fame. Like, he's built the LOB and the MLB now. And the decisions that he made this year that did not gain universal support from people either in the fan base or outside of it, I think you have to give him an unbelievable. There can never be enough credit for John Schneider as far as I'm concerned. John Schneider can do whatever he wants for the rest of his time in Seattle because the guy has delivered 2 Super Bowls. It is a privilege that we don't have to quibble and complain about the GM. It's reassuring to know that we can have faith and belief in him and his head coach and their staff, either in the scouting department or on Mike McDonald's staff. I just think it's great. It's great, and the Super Bowl champions again. And I look forward to the next off season. Like, don't worry, I've not done a mock draft yet. I've always done mock drafts before the turn of the year. I've not done one this year. I might do one on the plane. So I'm flying back to England tomorrow. I might do one on the plane. I might just run through all the different things that are going to be coming up for the Seahawks in terms of the offseason. We've got the combine just around the corner. That's the amazing thing about winning the Super Bowl is like all of that like dead time where there's nothing going on, where you just sort of waiting for the combine, waiting for the Senior Bowl. We've kind of missed all of that because the team were in the Super Bowl, and now we can look forward to it. So that's amazing. And it's just like right around the corner. So it's taken up a lot of that dead time. This one from Mike. Raise one to our champions. The defense is like a boa constrictor. MCD outcoached MV. The future is so bright. Thank you, Mike, for that. This one here from Batman. It says, we are in rare territory to have won the Super Bowl and have top 7 or 5 in cap space. We could be special for years to come. Thank you, Rob, for all your hard work. You've made being a fan truly informative and enjoyable. Thank you, Batman. Much appreciated for that. Parallax982, no comment there, but a very generous super chat. Thank you very much. It's easy modes, $10. I watch most games with my dad, who lives just about 40 minutes away. For the last 3 to 4 years, I've tuned into your stream on my drive home. Finally, after 12 years, we saw our team claim glory again. We did. That feels like such a long time ago, 12 years. And that, it's so good. To think, and it's just perfect, isn't it? Like that they played the Patriots again. They wore the same uniforms as the last Super Bowl. I'd say Collinsworth in the booth. Like just so many similarities there, and yet felt so different as well in this Super Bowl. Like they were completely outclassed, the Patriots today. They were nowhere near. Like the Rams-Seahawks game was a contest. This was a mismatch, as Richard Sherman might say, and he was there tonight. This one from the almighty Dagda. I was going to say something profound about the team, but at this point, I just want to say thank you to you, Rob. Thank you for your coverage, and go Hawks. No, thank you. That's a very generous super chat again there. I really appreciate it. I don't quite understand how we've built such an amazing community. It's down to you guys, really, because it's nothing that I do. I just sort of write a bit about the draft and people join in, and I do a few of these videos. I can't believe we've got such a massive community through Seahawks Draft Blog, and that any of you kind of care And some of the things that people were saying at the game today were kind of coming up to us. It was kind of choking me up a little bit. Yeah, he's special. So I'm so glad that we can just enjoy this together. I'm really happy about that. Insert for flight says, the fumble 6 to Chenna. I immediately thought about you, Rob. A core memory, I hope, brother. You deserve tonight. Soak it in. Thank you for what you do. Yeah, I definitely celebrated that. Like, that was the big cheer for me. I mean, like, to let you know, I don't think I have. Like, when there was the sack fumble, I thought I'd had a hernia injury. Like, I was the amount of celebrating I did from that, and it was a sensation in sort of like my midsection that I'd never felt before. And I know that my dad had a hernia at about the age that I am now, so I've kind of been waiting for this to happen. And I did think I might have just really seriously hurt myself here. And then then the more things that kept happening that were great, I was then massively celebrating it, and then immediately afterwards going, yeah, you are hurt. As it happens, I don't think it is a hernia because I feel perfectly fine now. So I'm just going to call it an oblique injury and say that I was limited for a while. This one here from David says, the Patriots acting like we all we need was their motto, and that they came up with it was pathetic. Glad we put them in their place tonight. That was definitely mentioned by Jeff and I as John Bon Jovi was going, we all we need. Is like, hang on a minute, like, what are they going to do next? Like, call on the 12s to give New England a huge cheer, and they were coming out, like, raise a flag with like 12 on it in blue and red. Now, that was a Seahawks thing. Like, the fact that they tried to make that as their thing, and as it turns out, you needed a lot more than what you had. You didn't have all that you needed for that game. You were completely outmatched. This one here from the Warhammer guy, Pat stole our LOB slogan. What a better way to humble them with a defensive mollywhopping. So grateful for your work, Rob. You've added so much colour and joy to this experience. Hope you enjoy it. I unbelievably enjoyed it. An unbelievable moment I will never forget for the rest of my life, seeing that today. And they brought out Malcolm Butler at the start, and I remember saying to Jeff, I'm absolutely delighted that he's here because I want him to see this as well. The Almighty Diners are back again. I remember I was stationed at Camp Stanley, South Korea in 2015 and watching the interception at the goal line. I am so happy that we finally got our vengeance 11 years later. Absolutely the case. Thank you for that. Again, another very generous super chat there. Chris says, Rob, you the man. Your passion about this game has literally changed how I think about life. Thanks to you, Robbie and Adam. Much love. Well, thank you, Chris. I mean, that's an unbelievable comment there. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your super chat as well. Zane says, Darnold let the game declare itself too. 37, 37, 37. I just love the fact that Sam Darnold's a Super Bowl champion now. Like, it just goes to show as well, the last two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts and Sam Darnold. Are we kind of going to a place now where you don't necessarily need, like, a Mahomes-esque quarterback? Are we going to see sort of this be a trend amongst the league now, that they've actually worked out that if you have a great team, you can win a Super Bowl? I think maybe that is something that we're learning here, and that sort of having a togetherness and a collective sort of the MOB mantra isn't just sort of like some cool nickname and things you can put on a t-shirt. It genuinely seems to have driven this team towards winning a Super Bowl. This from DJT. Where is Robbie? Missed that guy at this moment. I think it's about 3 o'clock in the morning in, is it 3 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning in Indianapolis. So I'm not going to wake Robbie up to jump on and do this, but I can reassure you that Robbie, Adam, and I will get together as soon as we possibly can to talk through this. Like, I've got a flight tomorrow. I'm leaving at 5 p.m. San Francisco time. I will then be back at noon the next day in England, and then obviously I'm going to drive back. I'm guessing everything will be normal on the Tuesday. We've got Seahawks Collective and Bump and Stacey, and then Puck on Wednesday. But at some point, I will make a priority to sit down with Robbie and Adam to get through this, because I want to hear those guys. I know Adam was watching it with Stu, who he podcasts with, and that would have been amazing that they were together. I want to hear from what Robbie was doing and what he was like as well, and we will definitely speak to those guys. Hawks fan Matt Man says, already seeing excuses about May being injured. Yeah, my point is just to say F him to that. I mean, he seemed pretty uninjured to me when he threw that touchdown pass to Matt Collins. Extremely generous super chat here from D. Earl. Thanks for everything, Rob. You've made an enormous contribution to this community, and I sincerely appreciate all the time and energy you've put in. My question, if you could pick an MVP for each level of the defense, who would you choose? I think it's very difficult to separate Derek Hall and Byron Murphy. Both unbelievable performers, both high picks. Murphy, at one point, I thought was trending towards being the MVP, but then Derek Hall, the sack fumble, he was brilliant tonight. It's very difficult to sort of split between those two. At linebacker, it wasn't a big linebacker day. Drake Thomas had a couple of big hits. Ernest Jones has just been a pillar of consistency. Even Tyrese Knight had leveled someone on a special teams return. And then in the secondary, I think you have to say Devin Witherspoon was just remarkable in that game. Like he was just such a force. So that's what I would go with. I hope that's what answered your question. And massively appreciate that very generous super chat. Zane says, Butler interception no longer a conclusion, but a footnote. I can watch that now and not care one bit. Like I used to sort of turn away or turn the TV off or get really triggered by seeing that play all of the time. It will never bother me again. Like it genuinely won't, because the problem with the first Super Bowl win was that you knew what happened next, and it kind of ruined the first Super Bowl a little bit, or the memory of it, or the highlights, because you knew what happened 12 months later. Now when I see Malcolm Butler, I'll go, yeah, but what happened 11 years later? Like that's how I'm going to be about this. This is such closure for me. I don't know. Some of you may agree with that. Some of you may disagree with that. For me, this is just massive closure today, and I needed it, and I've got it. KJ again says, already warning my wife about Valentine's Day, the date of Super Bowl 61 next year. I would suggest you do the same. LA is fun in February. Sign K9 and Boye. Can't wait for your updates on the draft. Go Hawks. Thank you, KJ. Much appreciated. The Emerty Dagba is back again. I am most proud that guys like D-Law, Leo Williams, and Coop, guys that were cast off their former teams, got a Super Bowl win. They deserve it. They absolutely do. It's a great point. Now, I'm so pleased for DeMarcus Lawrence and Leonard Williams and Cooper Kupp and some of these other players who came here, not at the start of their careers, but maybe closer to the end of their careers, and have been able to have this moment. And they're just so likable players. And now they'll go down in Seahawks legend. They all will. And they deserve to be remembered like the last Super Bowl champions for me, and they've been sensational. And I agree with everything that you've said there. This from DJT again. I have no comment, but thanks. It's been a great year with you guys, and missing Robbie right now. Yeah, as I've said, I will definitely get Robbie on the stream as soon as we possibly can. This one here from MWOC0259, past 3 a.m. in Florida. Can't go to sleep. Very happy. Thank you for everything you do for the 12s, Rob. My pleasure. I love it. And thank you for being with us at 3 a.m. So there we go. It's just incredible, isn't it? The Seahawks are Super Bowl champions. Whatever you're doing tonight, my advice will be to just love every minute of this. Like the last time the Seahawks were Super Bowl champions, we got to enjoy it for a year. And then the worst thing ever happened that could possibly happened. And we didn't get to enjoy it for very long, did we? We got 12 months out of that, and then misery. And it's taken 11 years to get that closure, and we've got it now. So here we are. Let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy the heck out of it. Go and get your Super Bowl merch. Go and watch the highlights a million times. Just live every freaking second of this. And again, I just want to thank all of you guys for we've been on this kind of journey together, haven't we? We've all been in it and lived through it. And, if you are going to, I suppose, visit a draft blog, you're kind of like of my mindset. This is not something that ends in January when the season finishes. This is something that carries on for you all the way through until training camp again. So we've all kind of been there. We've all lived through it. We've all been hoping that they could get back to this, and they've done it. They have got back to the pinnacle, got back to the top. Super Bowl champions again. What an unbelievable day this has been. One of the best. CSS Proteus has sent in a super chat right at the end there. Much appreciate it. Thank you for that. So there we go. I am going to now have a glass of water and rest my voice a little bit. I am going to watch the highlights, which I've not had a chance to watch yet. And then tomorrow I am going to get up, I'm going to have my breakfast, I'm going to check into this hotel, I'm going to go and take a few pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge, and then I'm going to have an 11-hour flight back home to England. I am going to record the highlights on my phone so that if the Wi-Fi is not working, every single hour on that flight, I am going to put those highlights on my phone and I'm going to enjoy them. Every single one of those 11 hours unless I fall asleep. So that's my plan for tomorrow. Enjoy celebrating. Enjoy the rest of this week. Enjoy the rest of this year. The Seahawks Super Bowl champions. How good is that to say? Until next time, bye for now.